What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 39 of my Total Warhammer 3 Kairos Fateweaver Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Fire ran into some difficulties as he was cursed by Sotek with the power of the Jungle Swarm, which turned out to be an extremely powerful spell. Not only does it not affect friendly troops, but it is perfectly capable of destroying apparently a unit of Chaos Knights, which have spell resistance, 130 armor, and are large entities on top of that, which just surprised me very much. It's like an even more powerful version of Infernal Gateway that doesn't hurt you, so at the very least, the Lizardmen have something up their sleeve to defend against us when we continue invading Lustria. Should be making for some interesting times as we go ahead. Anyway, Fire is going to need to recover a little bit, though we will be bringing him reinforcements with Kronos, who is actually going to swap out to a different lord shortly, though he does need to deal with Melwyn first. And speaking of, we should also start recruiting some units here. So let's go, say, 2 units of Chosen of Tzeentch of each type. And okay, Kronos, relax. What else can we get in here? I'm just wondering. And now Fire's probably going to be using a lot of Soul Grinders as well as Pink Horrors. Soul Grinders mostly because I think that, well, they wouldn't be affected by the Jungle Swarm very much. But Kronos, you still need to make an army for yourself. Now, I suppose we'll get a Chaos Knight here. Although, if this guy attacks us and then immediately runs away, we'll have to cancel you. You know what? I don't like that. Let's make another regular Chosen of Tzeentch like that. I don't want to go overboard on the Chosen because they're ludicrously expensive as well, so maybe 3 is a little bit much, but it can act as the core of this army. And I suppose we could always transfer them around between these two forces. Alright, let's do that and then we'll see. We're paying a little bit much for our troops at this point already. Now, that's good with you guys. What we also want to be doing, and I think that this, or at least I hope that this will work, is we're going to try to send Garrulus outside the settlement, right beside Wurzag. I'm hoping that what'll happen is Skarbrand will attack us. I think we're close enough to reinforce. You know, just to double check. I do want the reinforcement to actually occur. Hopefully, ooh. But the problem is there's no telling who Skarbrand attacks. He currently looks like he's trying to go for Wurzag. I think we should be close enough because I can't really move you any further. Yeah, so I'm hoping that if he gets attacked, then, or rather if Skarbrand attacks Wurzag, we will be able to do a joint mission. I don't know if it'll work out, but I'm hoping it will. If it doesn't, we also have you in Bitterstone Mine now. So if they attack Garrulus outside, Iber will be able to reinforce as well. So either way, I think Wurzag is in a pretty bad position at this point. And I'm pretty happy with that. Alrighty, now let's see who else needs to move this around before we end it and see where the fights take us. Vindex and Co, yeah, you guys just stay here to get that old Grumslayer thing one more time. Adamantus, you keep discovering what's going on in the center of this territory. Not that it's super needed much more. You've seen what's gone on in Nagashazar. You have Strategist, eh? You do have 1,000 fingers, though. Kinda hard to say whether we should get rid of you or not. I'll think about it. For now, go out there. I want to see what's going on in Grimgore's territories as well. Although I suppose we could simply just find out what's going on via Reveal Shroud. There's no real need for you to act as a scout. You know what? Yeah, I don't think we need you. Sorry, buddy. Alrighty, and then Alucas, you can keep heading up north. You've got a long, long way to go. Up you go, buddy. Alrighty, well, that's everybody that needs to move around. Let's do our buildings, and then let's go next turn and see where the fights take us. Vulture Mountain, you can have a Thaumaturgic Fisher. Great Mortis Delta, you're good, just military now. Kofor, definitely gonna need walls, especially as you're pretty liable to get attacked, I think, as Illustria will be sailing some armies to us. I guarantee it. And Dragonhorn Mines, you can have the wall, and might as well upgrade your Thaumaturgic Fisher. Can't hurt. And same thing goes for Ekron, you can upgrade yourself as well. Get that money out of the Web of Secrets there, and oh wow, the Tzeentch corruption is dropping crazily here. I mean, yeah, we'll need to turn you to a dimensional cascade, but damn. Land of the Dead looks like Numos is getting the upgrade, and with Numos having been upgraded, we will no longer be needing any of you. Lovely. Alright, fire or ice fire plains. I was about to say fire ice plains, but close enough. You can have a cultist camp, and you can also have, ooh, actually cultist camp or Lost Athenium combined with the yeah, I think we gotta go with Lost Athenium first and ask questions later. You can have the demonic locust, however, and you in 5 turns will be able to upgrade to your dimensional cascade as well. Good. Land of the Dervishes, Sudenburg, you get an upgrade. Good. Southern Badlands, money and growth. Alright. Been a while, but it looks like we will probably be actually running out of money this time around. And just from upgrades. Which is nice, because it means we actually are getting stuff upgraded. And you can have your Web of Secrets. Do we need the growth here? I mean, not a lot, but might as well. Just so that we don't have to deal with it later on, then we'll obviously get our money back afterwards. Alrighty, now, when's a magic manipulation before we end the turn? Is it needed? It doesn't look like it is. Okay, looks good to me. There's potential for 2 battles. Let's see if one at least... Ooh. What we could also do, just in case, is pop the mutagenic energy's unholy manifestation on Wurzag in the hopes that it prompts him to attack us. I don't know whether it will, but you never know. Somebody did say in the comments that this does have a tendency to force the AI to move.
Tzeentch bestows the glorious burden of knowledge.
Alrighty. Let's see if that worked out. End the turn, and Skarbrand. You coward, Skarbrand. He was gonna move and then he didn't. He moved first, too. And he was moving there. Wow. I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed in you, Scarby. A little bit. And now the question is, will Wurzag run or will he fight? At least Wurzag will fight, though... Wait, I'm confused. Is he using a lightning strike? Why aren't we drawing out the garrison? We were in range. That's weird. And that's weird and not so good, because now this battle is going to be extremely difficult. The enemy has 1, 2, 3, 4 giants to their name, a lot of black orcs as well, and Wurzag himself. Why didn't we draw out our garrison? I am not sure. Well, it's going to be a toughie, but we have no choice but to try to fight it. I suppose we could retreat, but then what would happen? What would... Actually, I do wonder, will we be able to double fight? Man, we had both armies. Okay, you know what? Try to retreat. If he attacks us again, we'll fight. If he doesn't, we'll fight him next turn with both of our armies. He attacks again. And he can still follow us, and we still don't get reinforcements, though it did drop his armies by 1, which means not 4 giants, which should be a lot better for us. I'm happy with that. Let's fight this cinematically.
Kill every last one of them. Let them plead for the mercy of Tzeentch.
Well, we'll get to working on killing every last one of them. In fact, we've killed quite a lot of them already. The bloody hands, I mean. Not necessarily this army, but we'll get to work on that shortly. Anyway, this is Garrulous's new and improved army with its 3 units of Chosen now ready to hold the line, and a lot of anti-large that we have access to via these main units. We also have 2 more of our units of Spawn of Tzeentch and our Flamers available. Now if we could just replace our 2 units of Furies with either or Screamers rather. I keep calling them Mantas. Got to use the Tau, I guess. Replace them either with Screamers or with Doom Knights will be set with this army permanently. And now we're gonna have a little bit of a shootout. Wurzag opened up by annoying our Chosen, or perhaps our Cultist or something, so he's gonna take a few shots himself, and we can shoot a lot more than he can, as our spell is cheap, it's spammable, and it barely has a cooldown to speak of. In fact, Wurzag is just about done here. I wish I had kept count to see how much mana that this had cost. Probably somewhere around 10 shots, so probably about 40 mana, which is quite a bit, but it is a legendary lord off the field, so can't complain too much about it, especially since he's off the field before the enemy can do anything. I'm gonna try to get one more shot on him before he runs away, though at this point I think we've run out of mana and are just trying to recover, or wins. And come on, just before he dies, he gets off the field. Unfortunate, but what can you do? Enemy reinforcements are on the field, and we do still have to remember that they are the aggressor here. They're going to attack us, so we're positioned fairly nicely with this cliff to the side of our Chosen and our Cultists standing in the middle of said Chosen with all of our units of Forsaken and our larger Spawn of Tzeentch in the back to get ready to dish out the damage. The enemy's going to move forward, and it does have access to an artillery piece, a unit of Doom Diver catapults, but we're going to do the same thing to these Doom Divers as we did to Mr. Wurzag back there, and destroy them. Fortunately, it does seem that the game is programmed to essentially destroy a single artillery piece with every use of blue fires. I don't know if the same is true of every magic missile, but this does mean that for 12 mana, we can get this Doom Diver essentially off the field. It won't destroy all the units, but it will destroy all the artillery pieces themselves, so they won't be able to fire. Alright, one more time. At least our Lord's doing work today. And I mean, a Lord that isn't Kairos. And hey, don't let them fire, come on. If only we weren't out of mana. And away he goes. Well, I guess they got to launch 1 before we managed to fire. It's okay. He'll take care of it in a few seconds, I'm sure. Damn, that mana recovery was not quick enough. Anyway, it's going to take a little bit of time for the enemy to get to us. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. Looks like they're going to be sending some Orc Boar Boy Biggins around to flank us. Fortunately, we do have our Flamers ready to react to that, so here they go. If anything, this should really set every single one of those boars on fire. And it looks like the enemy doesn't actually want to run away. The AI does have a tendency to do this, to get the cav as well as any other fast units essentially to the flanks, and then wait for the rest of your army, for the rest of the army to arrive and get in contact or engage at the player's army before the AI moves in the fast movers. This is very unfortunate for these Boar Boy Biggins, because they're gonna get roasted while they're waiting. Of course, it's not the only cav unit that the enemy has, but free kill essentially. And there we go, one more shot from the Flamers, and then our other units move in to get a couple more hits in, though I do believe this unit is just about done, and we're about to fight the main battle here. There we go, gonna open up that Gate of Tzeentch with our Cultist, and as we can see in the background, the Cultist is currently getting focused down a little bit by their archers rather, and we're gonna move him away as he's already starting to take damage. The Chosen got charged by the enemy cav here, and that was a terrible idea. Beautiful. This is what they're meant for, though they are also going to have to hold ground against the Black Orcs with their great axes and their armor piercing, so they should be pretty damn decent against the Chosen here. And same thing goes for the Trolls as well, as they do splash damage, though they should get brought down fairly quickly as well. Alrighty, a few Chosen getting chopped apart, though it's taking quite a few of those axe swings from a unit of Black Orcs to achieve it. And I'm pretty happy with that. As soon as that happens, obviously, as soon as the army engages, we send in our clowns, send in our spawn of Tzeentch, both to add a little bit of extra splash and to add some bodies and HP to the main line. Cultist tried to go back in, but unfortunately he's just keeps getting focused down by all the enemy archers back here firing out of the woods. A little bit annoying, but what can you do? We've also amassed enough mana to use a single round of Firestorm of Tzeentch, which does a little bit of damage, but unfortunately the enemy army isn't positioned in such a way that it was super blobbed up such that we could do a massive amount of damage. We still have two giants to contend with, one of which has currently a Gaze of Tzeentch upon it, and we will probably have to make sure that our spawn are the ones that destroy the giants, mostly because our Chosen, who are our only current anti-large units, are a little bit busy. On the bright side, though, we did manage to get our Flamers off to the flank of the enemy army, where, as we can see, they're doing quite a lot of damage to these Black Orcs and whatever else they can reach. And pretty appropriate at that. At the same time, we've started to move around our extra units of Forsaken onto the flanks, and they're going to hit all of these enemy range units to prevent them from killing the cultists and preventing them from supporting the enemy in general. Gonna try to surround the enemy lord, and then of course once all the back line is dead, we will simply head into the center and crush the enemy between our two forces. Pink fire going down, overcast on the enemy, biggest blob that we could find, though unfortunately it probably wouldn't do all that much damage to the Black Orcs. The Flamers, at the very least, seem to be working quite well here. And yeah, I'm very glad that we now have these Flamer units in this army. They really, they were needed here. To have such a very infantry-heavy army and not have any of the Flamers would have, was a little bit unfortunate. I'm also kind of tempted to get a single Exalted Flamer in here just for the purpose of dealing with things like giants, but I'll think about it. I do have to wonder how many shots it would take an Exalted Flamer to actually take out a giant. Oh, and look at our poor cultists having dropped down to like 30% HP or something along those lines. Well, either way, the use of our units or Forsaken, who were fast enough to chase down and destroy those archers, seems to have very much crippled the enemy's morale, and the entire army looks to be routing. The giants are actually still standing tall, both of them above 50% HP, and they still had a Black Orc war boss, or a Black Orc big boss rather, but otherwise the army is pretty much done. All their infantry got held by the Chosen and then promptly roasted or otherwise destroyed. Alrighty, good job everybody. Too bad for the giants, as they didn't achieve too much, though they did, I'm sure, dish out a decent amount of damage to our Chosen, who did take damage, though those three units essentially held the entire army and a half back. Not quite by themselves, as they did have eventual help from our spawn, but nearly by themselves, which is pretty impressive. Alrighty, and with that, we're just gonna give some, just gonna give chase to whatever we can. Also, I forgot that the enemy put a Goblin Rocklobber on the field, or rather, I forgot to mention it, because we did send our Furies to go in and chase it down. Our Lord's gonna chase the enemy down as well. He's actually gonna go for the Black Orc Big Boss here, because the Forsaken have taken care of that Goblin Shaman. And our main goal here is obviously going to be to try to chase down and kill both of the Giants, so we don't have to deal with them again. So, of course, since the enemy attacked Dusk here, if we don't kill the giants, we will have to fight them next turn. Alright, this guy looks pretty darn dead here. Fortunately, one of the great things about this army is while it doesn't have cavalry, its units, the Forsaken and the Chaos Spawn, are quite quick, and any standard enemy infantry and do get chased down quite thoroughly. There we go. Alrighty, a close victory, though I don't think we actually took all that much damage to anything other than the Chosen. I suppose I could be mistaken. Let's find out for sure. Alrighty, there we go. I'd like to think that Wurzag probably regretted his attack after that. The Chosen held the line very admirably here. 20,000 damage on one of them. Nearly as much as our Lord. Pretty darn impressive. And the enemy focus fire, however, was quite annoying on our Cultist, but, well, I guess we're used to it at this point. And now, yeah, the Chosen actually dished out more damage than the Flamers did. Well done to them. Very good. Alrighty, now in terms of viability, there are some units that still remain in the enemy army. Fortunately, the two giants went down, and Wurzag still has to be killed if we can catch him, so we're going to give that a try. Let us... Well, there's no guarantee that we're in our own territory right now, so we're going to devour captives just in case. It depends on how far you ran. Oh, wow, you ran pretty far away. But yeah, we should be able to reach these guys and auto-resolve their other armies to death right after this. Scarbrand, you're still a coward. And we've got another little mini battle here. Mini-ish battle, and they are indeed actually attacking us. Alrighty, well, let's fight this one, and that'll round out the episode. Get to it.
Battle is upon us. It is time to play the great game.
Alrighty, we may not really have had to necessarily do this cinematically, but this will be the first time we're using this many chariots, so I just wanted to enjoy watching them do their work. The enemy's brought 9 archers and 9 units of spearmen to the field, which is, well, which is certainly something that the chariots can enjoy obliterating. Now, we're going to start this battle off by sallying out and trying to destroy this one isolated little force of 3 spears and 2 archers with both our flyers and our chariots, as well as, of course, our Forsaken. Basically, all of our fast-moving units, while the rest... Ah, look at those chariot charges. Very nice. While the rest of our units essentially stay inside the settlement. And it looks like these guys are pretty much done extremely quickly. Otherwise, the enemy's going to move in. We've done a decent amount of damage with Kronos here already, as he is spamming his pink fires on the enemy as they move together with their prince towards our center line. And we're going to be ignoring these two little blobs of units, as the enemy's separated into 4. One's dead, one's being worked on by spells, the other 2 are going to be allowed to move into the center, where we do have most of our own garrison waiting for them. Anyway, back to the chariots and the flyers here, although they don't have too much work left for them. I do find it interesting that the chariot wielder is wielding a halberd. No anti-large bonuses despite that, huh? Mostly probably because a chariot is not something you bring to a large entity fight. And there we go, and it looks like all of these guys are now routing. We're gonna give chase with both the chariots and the flyers to try to destroy as many of these units as possible, of course, as I do imagine that they will come back if they're not killed. Looks like the enemy has a single unit of Illyrian Reavers, which is gonna try to charge into the center of the settlement here, but we do have our single unit of Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch with halberds, which I do imagine should be able to hold against the charge of Illyrian Reavers quite well. And there we go, some blue fires hitting them at the same time, and it's a terrible, terrible matchup for the enemy. There we go, those Reavers are dropping like flies. Ouch, absolutely wrecked, and we just barely lost our barrier there, but otherwise took basically no damage on every unit of Chaos Warriors. And there go the fast-moving unit, the single fast-moving units that the enemy had on the field, and they will no longer be able to achieve anything at all. Killed to a man at that. Alrighty, let's see what's left on the field. The balance of power is very much in our favor. The enemy's lost about half of its army already. And the prince is surrounded here by our blue horrors, though of course he can probably kill them all without too much trouble. That's okay. Our Forsaken as well as our Chaos Spirits are going to move around to try to get these isolated archer units, as they are no longer protected by the prince or these spears, which have been pretty much killed by the pink horrors at this point, though I do imagine the flyers will actually reach the enemy archers first. The vast majority of the remaining enemy forces are going to try to attack here where Kronos is hovering, and where the blue horrors are going to hold the ground together with, shortly, our pile of Chaos Warriors. I guess this is where we'll watch the rest of this, and sure, there may be at least a few more hits from the chariots, but probably not into massive enemy units like we have here. And an overcast pink fire going through, I believe, 3 units of enemies, and then we're gonna drop down a bolt of change on them as well to increase the splash damage, and finally a infernal gateway as well. They're certainly not getting past this. And those poor spears, and they're all pretty much dead with that. There we go. All of them are either wavering or routing or shattered. There's a few more archers left, but we should be able to chase them down fairly quickly. Maybe we'll watch one more chariot charge at least. There's a small unit of archers that I think got hurt and then came back. But they're about to get a lot more hurt as well.
Enemy approaching.
And there we go. That's a pretty bloody charge at that. But there isn't an animation where you can see like one of the enemy units get impaled on the a little ramming spike that the horses have. And there we go, that archer unit is done. The prince is wavering as well. He's been surrounded by our screamers, and I did try to send in the Forsaken to try to help them out, but apparently the screamers didn't really need the help. The other chariot is helping out the Furies, and the battle's over. There we go. Well done, everybody. One more infernal gateway just to round out this battle. And there we go, just in the path of the enemies as they try to run away, as they can't move past it due to the sucking effect of the vortex. And also the killing effect, I guess. And there we go. Oh look, you guys survived, though let's just say not for long. Blue and pink horror is gonna kill the rest of you. Ouch. I almost feel bad for them, but then I remember that they're elves, and they all need to be destroyed. Alrighty, fast forward. And I think the only unit that's likely to survive here, well, depending on if we can catch this archer unit, is the prince. There was no way that we could catch the prince. We just didn't have any units that were fast enough. Even the screamers couldn't really chase him because they were too slow and they didn't do enough damage. And he's too heavily armored. But I think every single other unit in this battle got destroyed. And there we go. Decisive victory. Easy one. But hey, we got to watch the chariots play and some nice infernal gateways. Alrighty, there we go. That should pretty much destroy the Citadel of Dusk, and while I think Melwyn will survive, we can just kill him next turn. And we shall take the money, I guess, because why not? A little bit odd that the Lord survives with no army and no way to replenish or rebuild or anything like that, but I'm perfectly fine with that. And Thorek is back, so... who is this? Vindex. I don't know. Exalted of Tzeentch. You will be asked again in 10 turns. Which one is Vindex again? He was the one that... Okay, you know what? Let's ask again in 10 turns. Yes. I might turn him into a Lord of Change? I'm not sure. On the one hand... Yeah, but he doesn't really get any buffs, and we may want to keep the Locus of Conjuration and just keep him as a horror buffer. I'm going to compare him to Fire and see if there's any reason to really do this, though it doesn't seem to be like there is. Either way, he already has Old Grumpslayer, whereas Voljax does not. So, Mr. Voljax, we're going to have you go here. We're going to have you auto-resolve this, like so. Beautiful. Now you have Old Grumpslayer. We are going to sack this territory with you. Diplomatic Relations, Opal Amulet, Conspiracy Theorist, and there we go. Another Old Grumpslayer, and that will be the last time we slay him. For now, Hogrul Migdal is going to be taken by Vindex, and the faction finally destroyed. It's taken a while, but there's no more need to deal with it, especially as the end is once again nigh. You can have a thaumaturgic load of Voljax. You need to transfer all this stuff to Kairos, so to Kairos ye shall go. Just like Silos over here. Although Silos might want to stop potentially at the Golden Tower and maybe make some Chosen. Not necessarily for Kairos, but there's a few lords that could use them. Doom Knights will probably take too long to make here at 2 turns, as otherwise we wouldn't be able to get there in time. But we can certainly make like 6 Chosen and transfer some of them to not Garrulus, but rather to Iber. Since we can't make Chosen here. Certainly a possibility. Anyway, we're about to call this episode. I just want to make sure that Melwyn is gone for good. Fare thee well, Melwyn. And the Citadel of Dusk will finally be destroyed, and we won't have to deal with those guys anymore. Alrighty, on that note, I am indeed going to call this episode. Next time we will continue buffing up Kronos' army as in recruiting units, and then send him forth to both reinforce Fire as well as to somewhat swap these units around. We'll need to build some horrors for Fire as well, though I guess we'll have to do it via global recruitment here, because local ain't really gonna fly. They will take 2 turns, but, and only... Yeah, maybe we'll get him some blue horrors instead. No, it's still gotta be pink horrors. Maybe we'll build something around here somewhere that'll allow us to get horrors, but that's a question for another time. Anyway, Lustria has to continue. We should be able to completely destroy Arcan's faction next episode as well, and then we shall also give chase and destroy the remnants of Wurzag's forces before moving up north and continuing their destruction up here as well. So stay tuned for more Kairos. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. Scarbrand, you coward. And thanks for watching.